Howdy, welcome back to the shop. Trucking along on our little indexing head rotary table project, and this is the factory hand wheel that came off of this. Now I was going to bore this straight through, make an insert in it, and then bore the insert, and then I thought, you know, I possess the technology of a torch, and Keith Rucker ain't the only one that knows how to braze. So what I did is I brazed the hole shut. I brazed this dish up a little bit, and now you can see there's a couple of inclusions or voids down in there. It is nearly impossible to braze well down inside of a hole like that, because you're putting heat down in there, and then the fire's coming back out, getting your torch tip really way too hot. That's a difficult braze to make with a torch. It'd probably be a lot easier with a TIG, but that's about 1 1/8 diameter, maybe 1 inch diameter hole. Yeah, right at 1 inch hole. Really hard hole to braze. I did the best I could. This probably is, well, this is definitely not going to matter in the long run. So what I'm going to do, this is wouldn't call it a well machined surface, but this is a machined surface. I'm going to go in here, 3-jaw chuck, get a hold of it here. We'll clean off the slag on the front of it here, get some of this slag off, then we'll face this out, get our chamfer reestablished, and get a flat spot back here. Might even drill it at that point, I don't know. But after we're done with this, we'll flip her back over this way, hold this in the chuck, and then we'll go in here and bore this, get this nice and prettied up. So let's go to the lathe. Okay, so I've got that cleaned up, got this face trued, got this OD trued. It was running pretty good, but you know, I just cleaned it up, let's say that. And then I faced my brass down in here. Now, an interesting artifact is this hole right here. Now, I have no idea what this filler is, but as hot as I got this casting, and this is cast iron, by the way, as hot as I got this casting, that filler didn't come out. It smoked pretty bad, but it never rotted or caught on fire, or I don't know what it is. While we're on the subject, when I got done brazing on this, I took it in the house and I put it in the oven at 500 degrees. 500 degrees American. I don't know what that is in Japanese, but I ran it at 500 degrees, got the oven up to temperature at 500, and then just shut it off and let it cool down. And that gave this a little bit of a post heat, and I don't really have the really brittle, hard nastiness that you can't cut on the outside of my casting. Another thing I did was, after it cooled down from that post heat op, was I put the whole thing in an old pan, a pan that I use just for the shop and stuff. But I put it in a pan and put it on the cook stove, and I boiled it for about an hour. And then I took my pocket knife and scraped off as much of the slag as I could and boiled it again for about an hour. And that takes the slag off. That slag is just as hard as woodpecker lips, and it's stuck on there tight, and it'll actually chip a carbide sometimes trying to knock the slag off. It's really nasty stuff. So anyway, that's my solution to getting slag off of brazed parts, is just to boil them, scrape at it, and then boil them again. Okay, so I've bored my inside surface and faced the back edge of this, and I've set my depth to where the hand wheel comes up on the threads as much as I want them to. So, and I've also polished on this as much as I can get it to polish. This is where the indicator ring goes. So I've done about everything I can do with it flipped around this way. I think it's kind of time to take her out of there and have a looky-loo. So here we are, all back together. You can see maybe right there just a couple little pits, voids, whatever you want to call it. It is what it is. I really can't get no better than that with the tools I have and the level of cleanliness that I have. And down in there you can see a few inclusions that I couldn't quite mill out, but you know, it's not really going to affect the strength of the overall product too bad. I do have about 3/8 of an inch, maybe 7/16 of good threads all the way through. And you know, it works. And somehow or another, I did get my hole through the center, just a hair wibble wobbled. So you can see just a little bit of wobble right in here. But it's so much better than it was from the factory. The handle is on there as solid as the handle will go. You can, you know, actually tighten it down onto the shaft, set your lock nut, and it's, you know, doesn't feel like it's going to come off of there and hit you in the foot. So I'm a lot happier with that. The project, I think, was a success, and I think we'll leave her at that. So y'all drive safe
and watch for deer.
And watch for deer.
Daddy, I like playing with this.
I know you like cranking handles. Don't stick your finger in there. If it gets stuck, it'll break it off. And you'll have to grow another finger like a jellyfish or something.